1985, the Task Force on Hungry and Homeless developed a plan for coordinated services and maintained data on the homeless and hungry in Brevard County. It's also in the 1985 Sentinel News. Also in 1985, the Task Force on Hungry and Homeless established a cold night shelter work group, and I led that team. That included Pat Hansen, myself, Keith Heinley, Judy Ivy, Roy McCormick, the pastor of Rockledge Presbyterian Church, the UCC Congregational Church in Melbourne as well, and that is also in the 1985 Sentinel newspaper. Just as a sample of some of the cold night shelters that have existed in Brevard County, and the majority of these from that date. Each night at His Place Ministries, the temperature, when it drops below 45 degrees, their doors open as the cold night shelter for South Brevard. Their fellowship hall turns into a bed, basically a bed and breakfast. Doors open at 8 p.m., where a dedicated group of volunteers serve those in need. A hot meal is served. A warm place to sleep is provided, and they're provided fellowship in a lot of different ways. Breakfast is served each morning before the folks leave by 7, with many as early as 4:30 as they go to day labor to seek daily employment. The Central Brevard Sharing Center shelter opens at 6 p.m. and closes the following day at 6 a.m. Meals are served when the temperature drops below 45 degrees. They convert their community kitchen into a cold night shelter. They recommend people call to see if the shelter is planned to be open. Doors open, like I said, at 6 p.m. and the space is limited. All are welcome, as much as space is provided. The Cold Night Ministries at Our Savior's Church. The shelter opens at 5:30 p.m., closes the following day at 7. Meals are served. Cold Night Ministry opens whenever temps drop below 40 degrees or when temps are in the low 40s with wind chill or chance of rain. Cold Night Shelter is held in the parish center next to the gym. The House of Hope in Merritt Island opens at 5 p.m., closes the following day at 6:30 a.m. Meals are served. So if you want to start a cold night shelter, here's some my recommendations. The first thing is zoning restrictions. Many churches and organizations that I have worked with in the past think that they can bypass this step, believing that they have some type of special permission status, I guess. But that's not the case. This is the main reason that many of those cold night shelters close as soon as they are opened. Please always check with your zoning or obtain a zoning waiver from your community. The next one is volunteer insurance. Make sure you add volunteer insurance to your church or agency policy. And fights do break out between residents, and so you want to make sure you protect your liability as well. You should have a shelter coordinator. This person oversees the entire operation and is available in case of emergencies. This person should not be scheduled for regular shifts, but should be on call as needed as well. Then for volunteer recruitment, you should have senior volunteers that ensure that all volunteers are aware of the rules, fire exits, and names of their colleagues for the evening, and to link new volunteers with experienced volunteers. Shelter volunteers assist with reception and serving drinks and food. They open the doors, register the guests, serve tea, coffee, and hot chocolate, and mingle with the guests as much as possible and serve the main meal. Before you open the shelter, you should have available the sleeping mats to the capacity that you're allowed, evening meals and morning breakfast items, a list of referral services available, and information cards. For health and safety items, you should be posting materials related to responding to a crisis. Post your disaster plan. Post policies regarding drugs, alcohol, antisocial behaviors, weapons, the time of the departure and return, and as well as information about the neighborhood. Determine when to open. Different places open at different times. That's usually based on a particular evening hour, but also as temperatures drop below a certain amount. In the community that I was at, it was either 40 or 45 degrees, depending on the agency. Are you going to be open during serious storm threats? Are you going to be providing a family shelter or just shelters for individual adults in different rooms? Um, it's basically it is determined by what your facilities have available. So on the schedule before you open, starting times vary for each shelter. Set up the tables and chairs for the meals. Put on the coffee urn or kettle for tea or coffee. Begin your meal preparation. Check the toilet area for cleanliness, soap, towels, etc. The coordinator will bring the whole team together to pass on any important notices and to introduce new faces. Also, make everybody aware of any incidents, problems, or concerns. Jobs will be allocated to the volunteers, that is, reception, serving drinks, food. Also, a chance to ensure that all volunteers are aware of all the rules, the fire exits, names of their colleagues, and to link new volunteers with experienced volunteers. After the doors are open, well, when the doors open, you open the doors, register guests, and serve tea, coffee, or hot chocolate. Mingle with the guests, serve the main meal, and then at the end of the shift, overnight team will come on duty and hand over with venue coordinator. The doors are closed and the lights are out. Overnight shift, a minimum of 2 people will cover the overnight shift. They are vigilant through the night, ensuring guests are safe. They hand over to the breakfast shift and may leave or stay on to help with the breakfast. Switch on the urn or the kettle and wake up the guests. Morning shift will arrive and begin breakfast preparation. The guests are woken, washed up, etc. Sleeping mats and blankets, etc., are folded and put away. Breakfast is served. The last teas and coffees are served, and then the guests leave. And you ensure that the venue is left clean and tidy. And we also set it up at our community where the county emergency management provided notice to the community as a whole and the media whenever and wherever cold night shelters are open.